The real reason the Dead Sea is drying up will blow your mind. The famous body of salt water is changing shape and losing depth compared to how it was 50 years ago. It is drying up and going into extinction. That's exactly what you heard. Already, the Dead Sea has shrunk by 15% from its initial size. Overall, this has caused concern among scientists, environmentalists, and even tourists who are concerned about the potential causes of this sudden fall. First, let's reminisce about some good old days of the Dead Sea before dashing off to the major reason it's drying up. The Dead Sea is believed to have formed around 3 million years ago during the geological period known as the Pliocene. It is located in the Jordan Rift Valley, which is part of the larger Great Rift Valley that extends from Turkey to Mozambique. It is so unique that it is situated at the lowest point on Earth, more than 400 meters below sea level, and it is fed by several rivers and streams, including the Jordan River. However, unlike other bodies of water, the Dead Sea has no outlet, which means the water flows in but doesn't flow out. Over time, the water that flows into the Dead Sea from the surrounding rivers and streams has become increasingly salty due to the high evaporation rates in the hot and arid desert climate. As a result, the Dead Sea has become one of the saltiest bodies of water on Earth, with a salt concentration that is about 10 times higher than that of the world's oceans. These unique properties of the Dead Sea's water and mud precisely have attracted people to the region for thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans all recognized the therapeutic benefits of the Dead Sea and used its resources for medical purposes. Today, the Dead Sea is a popular tourist destination, attracting millions of visitors each year who come to experience its unique properties and enjoy its stunning natural beauty. Besides the dead in the Dead Sea, it provided many healing benefits with a unique combination of potassium, sodium, and magnesium surrounding the sea. Researchers claim that the Dead Sea mud provides great relief for pain and inflammation and helps to improve psoriasis. This might feel odd, but the Dead Sea is not a sea. It is the deepest salt lake in the world. With the high concentration of salt in the sea, it is devoid of life. This is because the water is incredibly salty. So salty that most plants and animals can't survive in it. It is surprising though. While the Dead Sea may not be teeming with marine life, like other seas and oceans, it is home to a unique and important ecosystem. The sea makes an important stopover for migrating birds, and it supports a wide variety of plant life. And with so many mysteries surrounding the sea, it is likewise a major source of minerals and other resources that are vital to the region's economy. Moreover, the Dead Sea sources its water from several places, primarily the Jordan River and its tributaries, including the Yarmouk River and the Zarqa River. These rivers flow into the Dead Sea, but because it has no outlet, the water stays in the Dead Sea and evaporates, leaving behind minerals and salts that contribute to its high salinity. In addition to the rivers, the Dead Sea also receives water from several smaller streams and seasonal watercourses that flow into it from the surrounding desert landscape. However, these sources contribute relatively little water compared to the Jordan River and its tributaries. Waters that flow into the Dead Sea are relatively fresh and contain only moderate amounts of salt and minerals. However, as the water evaporates in the hot and arid climate of the region, the remaining water becomes increasingly salty and mineral-rich. This process has been going on for millions of years and has resulted in the unique and fascinating ecosystem that we know as the Dead Sea today. The point is, the Dead Sea would be long dead without getting its water from several sources. However, it has begun to show multiple signs that in the recent years, we might be left only with its memory alone. The Dead Sea is drying up. Listen to that again. Though many factors have been linked to why this is happening, the real reason is yet to be known. Overall, there is more than a single reason for the drop in Dead Sea levels. And believe this, each of these reasons is closely related. Remember that the Dead Sea does not generate its water? Exactly. That's why the sea has been shrinking due to human activity. Human activities are in the form of the division of water from the Jordan River, which is also the main source of fresh water for the Dead Sea. Before now, Jordan's waters, which flowed between spring and winter into the Dead Sea, averaged about 45.5 cubic feet, which is about 1.3 billion cubic meters per year. This has changed, and since the 1960s, there has been an unquantifiable drop in the inflow of water from the Jordan River to the lake. Although many agree that the reduction is due to the surge in Jordan's population, the need for its water increased massively, hence causing a high shortage of pumps into the hypersaline lake. Jordan's river has had its share of problems, as the water has been diverted for agriculture, industry, and urbanization. This has been a huge blow to the Dead Sea as well. Though, a good way to put this is that whatever happens to Jordan happens to the Dead Sea. Despite all that has been said, it is difficult to believe that human factors and activities are the sole reason for the lake's dryness. To this end, you need to know the ill-fated relationship between the River Jordan and the Dead Sea. That is, the fact that the Dead Sea relies on the influx of water from River Jordan would have changed if there were frequent rainfall in the region as it used to be. Aside from this, plummeted rainfall has likely been linked to the dryness of water in the region. More often than none, rainfall has dropped to as little as a fifth of modern levels compared to what it was some 120,000 years back, and again, about 10,000 years ago. Reduction in rainfall has contributed to this, but there is more. Climate change is another real factor contributing to the shrinking of the Dead Sea, as rising temperatures and changing weather patterns continue to affect the number of downpours in the region. It results in increased evaporation rates. This hotness sucked up the seawater and its tributaries, causing further loss of water. The reality is, the lake's evaporation moves faster year in and year out, as against the way it recovers during the past centuries. By separating the lake's northern and southern basins with a stretch of dry land, by the 21st century, the southern basin had largely stopped being a natural body of water, since it had been divided over time into dozens of enormous evaporation pools. The main remains are that the northern basin, which is now the actual Dead Sea, kept much of its overall dimensions because its shoreline descended so sharply from the surrounding terrain. However, the depleting nature of the sea can be traced back to decades precisely in the 1970s, and since then, its water levels have been dropping at an alarming rate of about 4 feet a year. This has led many environmental and economic consequences. For many reasons, the Dead Sea is located at the lowest point of the Earth. It lies in a desert where it gets little inflow from neighboring bodies of water. One thing is clear though, the most visible consequence is the foundation of sinkholes along the shores of the Dead Sea. To be precise, there are roughly 7,000 sinkholes in the region, which is expected to increase in coming years. The presence of sinkholes, especially in the southwestern part of the region, has resulted in high water drops, and the ground becomes unstable. This is dangerous, and so far, we have seen the effect as many of these sinkholes have swallowed up roads, buildings, and even people. Aside from this, the drying of the Dead Sea has more severe environmental consequences. Although the sea is salty and a dead end for living organisms, nevertheless, some unique ecosystems like algae, bacteria, and fungi have adapted to its high salinity levels, and many of these ecosystems are now threatened. The loss of water has led to the formation of salt islands in the middle of the sea, which can harm marine life and affect water quality. As water levels dropped further, it has hurt tourism, since the shoreline has receded and the salt formations have deteriorated. A good indication of why there is a drastic drop in tourism revenue, which has hurt the local revenue for decades. One way to help replenish and heal the ailing Dead Sea is by desalinating seawater from the nearby Red Sea and pumping it into the Dead Sea. This has become a much controversial solution provided so far. The idea of bringing water from the Red Sea to the Dead Sea is tagged the Red Sea-Dead Sea Water Conveyance Project, or the Two Seas Canal. This project aims to address the shrinking of the Dead Sea, caused by the diversion of water from the Jordan River for other purposes. The Two Seas Canal project involves the construction of a canal, or pipeline, that would transport water from the Red Sea, which is located about 180 kilometers south of the Dead Sea, to the Dead Sea. The water would be desalinated and then transformed through the canal, or pipeline, and then pumped into the Dead Sea. The project has been studied for several years, and various plans have been proposed, including a canal that would run through Jordan, Israel, and the Palestinian Authority, as well as a pipeline that would run through Jordan only. The connection of both seas was first proposed in the 19th century, and in 2015, both countries, Israel and Jordan's government, signed an agreement to go ahead with the plan. Thus, the project, which was initiated in 2013, has faced many challenges, including environmental concerns and political and diplomatic obstacles. Hampered by the cost of high construction, the project is estimated to cost from $2 to $10 billion, and as of 2023, the project is still under consideration, and feasibility studies and negotiations are needed to determine the possibility of implementing the project. This can help raise the water level and improve improve the salinity balance. Also, implementing water conservation measures, such as reducing water usage in agriculture and increasing the use of treated wastewater for irrigation, can help reduce the amount of water diverted from the Jordan River. Many also agreed that the mining of minerals such as potash and magnesium from the Dead Sea had contributed to its shrinking. Implementing sustainable mining practices can help reduce the impact on the Dead Sea's water levels. Promoting sustainable tourism activities, such as hiking and birdwatching, can help raise awareness about the importance of preserving the Dead Sea and generate income for the local communities. As shrinking continues, it has become a transboundary issue that requires international cooperation among Israel, Jordan, and Palestine, as well as other stakeholders such as international organizations and donor countries. A joint effort to implement conservation measures and sustainable development practices can help save the Dead Sea for future generations. All well and said, efforts are being made to address the problem of the shrinking Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is a popular tourist destination, and its mineral-rich waters and mud are used in cosmetics and other products. So, it is important to consider the economic and medical consequences of the shrinking sea more than anything else.